What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news and the buzziest topics with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old Singaporean humor.
Good old Singaporean humor, man.
Humor. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the midweek episode. How has the first half of your week been, man, Terrence?
It's been good. It's been good. I think the hangover from National Day is wearing off already.
You had a National Day hangover.
Not just me, man. I think the whole country had a National Day hangover.
What
Like
kind of
last week.
hangover? Go very different kind of hangover, no?
Like just no. There was hardly any like bad news or criticism or anything about in Singapore the last week. I felt
About NDP or just more like
just in
negative?
general. Yeah, very. It was hard to find really negative things. Not that we're out to look for negative things to talk about, but that's what gets people talking, right? And what I found was like the last week was like, wow, seems everyone's very united behind the crying man and the red lion parachuting thing and all that. Yeah,
Except for
really,
Orchard Towers, except
angry.
for Orchard Towers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who are very angry about Orchard Towers. Not that doesn't, but it's not everyone lah.
So you
That's
had
for
a
sure.
positive vibe. So now you're coming off the positive vibe, is it?
Exactly.
So because the
crash,
reality is coming crashing home, is it?
the inevitable crash. Yeah,
Oh, is
after the
it?
high.
The inevitable crash. Wow.
That's right.
That's a very bleak way to start the podcast.
Yeah. The message, I mean, it's sort of in line with what we're talking about as well, right?
Kind of. At least the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
topic, the first topic.
Yeah. Correct.
But
That second topic also actually very.
Second
So
topic
somewhat.
is what? That one is the one that I do have many thoughts on. And I'm sure you also have. I'm sure, and
Yeah.
I'm sure listening also, if you clicked, you saw the title, you probably have
Yeah.
also. Or you might be thinking, what the fuck is that? But
Yeah.
either way, we're going to dive into it.
Yes,
But yeah,
that's right. But
Before
before
that-
we dive into it,
Yes.
what is it? What are we plugging?
just a good old plug to give our podcast. If you enjoy it, if any part of it has made you smile or made you think, to give it a rating on either Spotify or Apple. I'm not so sure other podcast players have rating systems, but Spotify and Apple does have. On Apple, you can also leave a comment. So it'd be great if you guys could just let us know what you feel. So when other people new to the podcast, they click, they're like, oh shit, a lot of people like this. Maybe I'll give it a shot. So yeah. So
That's right.
while we're talking, just open up your phone, wherever you're listening, just click on the rating. All right, just click on the rating.
That's right.
Cool,
and
man.
On to that first topic that we talked
On to
about.
the first topic. Yeah.
Yes.
It is based off a recent podcast that Singapore's ambassador at large, Tommy Koh, did with Channel News Asia. It was
Called
released,
Heart of the Matter.
Yeah, Heart of
It's
the
called
Matter.
Heart of the Matter. Yeah.
And it was released like 5 days ago, was it?
Yeah.
It was not super recent, right? It came out on oh shit. Whoa, shit. It
think,
came out on Friday.
Yeah, came out Friday, and articles were sort of written about it. I think Monday onwards, right?
Yeah, so 12 August, 12 August Friday.
Yeah.
And yeah, Monday onwards there were articles, and essentially the title of a lot of the articles is referencing something that Tommy Koh said on the podcast, and that is that Singapore is snobbish and looks down on those who are poor. Yeah, so it is a 37-minute podcast. But this formed the crux or the central focus point of a lot of the articles that were written.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
I mean,
yeah.
just some context about the podcast as well. It was not just about from Tommy Koh. I think there were two other guests as well. And they were giving basically different viewpoints about the same questions that Tommy Koh was asked.
Yeah.
But I think probably this is the part that people really latched on. What Tommy Koh said about Singapore being a very snobbish place lah.
Yeah, and I mean, the context of the podcast, if you look at the description and all, was just to refer to the Forward Singapore thing that DPM Lawrence Wong mentioned before. The social compact.
Yes, that's right.
The host of this podcast, Stephen Chia, who, I mean, if you've watched any CNA stuff, you probably know him. He wanted to get thoughts from 3 generations of Singaporeans. So Tommy Koh was from the older generation.
Yeah.
The middle-aged generation was the president of PPIS, which is the Singapore Muslim Women's Association. Her name is Hazlina Halim. And the
Yeah.
younger generation was Laura Sim, a 21-year-old student from SMU.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
so it was the context of it, and throughout the 37 minutes, I mean, we both listened to the podcast. The podcast is available wherever you are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
But what were some of the things that stuck out for you? Stuck out,
Stuck out. Yeah.
man. Yeah.
The first thing that stuck out was that I mean, definitely they were not in a room together. It was over Zoom. So the audio quality wasn't great, lah, to be frank. And then I found that quite disappointing. Sometimes my phone was at its max speaker level, and I still had to hold it up to my ear to sort of make out what some of the guests are saying.
Terence,
right?
here they're talking about future of Singapore,
I know.
and you just shitting on the audio quality.
I'm bitching it.
You're
But no,
audio
but
snob. You're an audio snob.
No, this brings
snob.
me. It's part of a larger point I'm trying to say. I mean, this is Channel News Asia, lah. They have budget, they have the professionals to do it and all that. But I just feel that they're going about this podcasting too much as almost like an offshoot of a talk show. You know what I mean? Like as long as they're not really thinking about the podcast as its own audio experience that is separate from radio, that is separate from a talk show, you know? So the thing about podcasts is that it's meant to be an experience. It's a much more intimate experience where the people are speaking in your ear. So if it sounds bad, it's really bad, lah. You know, it is exacerbated. It's not like TV where you get by with the shitty audio quality, but when it's in your ears, in your AirPods with, you know, and everything else is crisp except the podcast you're listening to, it's very grating on the ears. Firstly, that's about the audio quality. But secondly, it's just the format of it as well. Just none of the guests could ever really dive deep into what they were talking about. And just like every other show you see on TV, the host is just trying to rush through to meet a certain timeline and hit a certain number of questions that they want to hit. And even like some of this incendiary, I mean, I wouldn't say I take back incendiary, but maybe more controversial opinions that Prof. Tommy Koh was bringing up. I wish that they had a chance to go into it a little bit further and really drill into why he thinks so and all that, as opposed to just get the soundbite so that someone can write a headline about it and then after that they just move on from there, lah. You know, so that's what I feel like. The disappointment I had listening to it was, it just really just felt like, okay lah, you scratch the issues on the surface, but they don't make full use of the podcast medium to really dive deep and really understand the thought process behind what he says, lah. You know? So it wasn't just a criticism of because it's CNA or what, but it's just I felt disappointed that the potential of this podcast was not realized.
So to give context, the format of it was there were three of them and Stephen Chia, and he would ask them a question and then they answer and then he move on to the next person, ask a question. And even though it was maybe a bit more conversational than what you would see on TV, where there's a limited time and all, there was no follow-up question. It's like ask a question, give a response, ask a question, give a response. So CNA, come on guys, we've worked with you before. If you need help with podcasts, we can chat, man. But that's a separate thing.
I mean, granted, they are CNA, so maybe they have certain guidelines to do as well. But I sometimes I felt like the speakers or what were making a very good point, and then the host would just summarize it in just a very generic way, like, oh yeah, there's very different types of knowledge, IQ and EQ, and how you apply it is what's important. Okay, let's move on to the next question. You know, that kind of thing. And that's kind of generic. Can I use a word that last time in college I always tried to use, then I always get scolded because I use it wrongly? Truisms. Is it
truism?
That word? Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like something that an uncle would come up with because they can't think of a word that blends two ideas together. I don't know whether it's an actual word. Is it an actual word?
It's an actual word.
It is.
But yeah, it's actually, I always thought it meant a short statement that was always generally accepted as true. But I think what I was always criticized was why they always say it was wrong is because it has a negative connotation. It's like you are saying something that is like so true, but it doesn't add value to the conversation, like, you know.
So an example, Terence, give me a truism.
just like I think like I believe what I just said about the host just rapping. Oh yeah, basically there's different types of knowledge, and how you apply that knowledge is equally important. You know, when basically I think if I remember correctly, Prof. Koh was making a point about Singaporeans, we need to look beyond just your typical you look beyond the failures and your academic qualifications and think about who brings value to society and all that, And then if the answer is, oh yeah, there's different types of knowledge and how we apply the knowledge is the big question.
It's like last time I remember the classes I took for business, where you just there's a participation grade in class, and then like fucking professor asks a question, everybody puts up their hand, and then they would answer stuff like that lah. I mean, which is why my participation grade was actually quite low, because on hindsight, I should have spoken more, but you hear them and then it says they sound smart lah, because they use big words. But this is digging up the past. Anyway, so for this podcast, right? But I mean, aside from the sound quality and the format, I mean, okay, maybe we just give a recap of what Tommy Koh especially said throughout the podcast lah. Because it almost felt like his conversation, his narrative has taken the center focus on all the news articles lah, which is a bit annoying, because the other people also shared their perspectives, but essentially high level, he said, talking about, okay, there's this social compact, but the pandemic made everyone aware of the people that really help society function, the frontline workers, the security guards, the cleaners, and they should be paid higher, they should be appreciated more. I mean, he did also say that the pandemic did show him that Singapore is very united, and there are more volunteers every year, so there's the good side of it. But when it comes to the economic status or economic prosperity, to him, Singapore is there's a lot more rich people than maybe there should be in a society that is his ideal, and the middle class is smaller lah. And the middle class and poor, it's smaller, but there's a lot of super rich people lah. When in his mind, I think he was quoting something Lee Kuan Yew said back when one of China's first ambassadors to Singapore came, and Lee Kuan Yew said he wanted a society that was olive shaped, so thin at the top, thin at the bottom, but very fat in the middle lah. Whereas for Tommy Koh, is a pear shape.
Yeah, so I think what he meant was I think basically he wanted to make a point that if you are thinking, this is the Singapore model, Lee Kuan Yew approved it on it. What he was pointing out is that Lee Kuan Yew was saying that his ideal was that there's a very big middle class in Singapore, and that there are very few poor people, very few ultra rich people, and then there's a very big fat middle class lah. But what the reality that he sees today after plotting the data points is that our economy, our income distribution is more like pear shaped. There's a lot of
rich and super rich.
The rich are quite a sizable proportion, but there's a lot more like people who are low middle class and below lah. So it has not panned out the way Lee Kuan Yew had envisioned it, and so to say that this was the Singapore way that was set from the start is a fallacy lah. That's what he's saying. Because I think he, to be fair, the other thing that probably annoyed me a little bit was that you look at this headline. I'm looking at this mothership headline. Tommy Koh, Singapore is snobbish and look down on those who are poor. It just makes you sound like
fucking asshole.
Damn grumpy. Or I wouldn't even say asshole, but he's like, opposition party already or something like that. But actually, if you listen to the full podcast, right, he's super optimistic, super positive about a lot of the experiences that he had through the pandemic as well. Where he said that, a lot of Singaporeans, the angels of Singapore came forth and really showed that we are not a heartless society, and we actually care, and the numbers back it up in terms of the number of Singaporeans who are doing voluntary or philanthropic work over the years, right? So actually, generally quite positive. But as with a lot of media, mainstream media, all that, granted, mothership is just writing something, and they need that headline for clickbait and everything. Okay, fine. But CNA were themselves also latched on it and they were the ones who did the podcast, right? So I take issue when the people who wrote the podcast are going just for the most clickbaity title and not the nuance the more nuanced discussion about it as well, lah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing. Okay, so the podcast itself, 37 minutes. I found it interesting to listen to. Nothing mind blowing or nothing that made me go like, oh shit. Because aside from Tommy Koh's perspectives, Haslina shared her perspectives of leading a non-profit that is focused on one community. And I mean, and the younger representative Laura, she talked about how people on her age or like people who have recently graduated, their approaches or thoughts on the workforce is also different, and that is a step in the right direction. So overall, literally Tommy Koh himself said at the end he's super optimistic about Singapore, and they were all thanking each other. Thank you Laura, thank you Azlina, no, thank you Tommy Koh, and like it was just so much like positivity. Like you listen to it, you feel okay. Singapore, we're in the right direction. Then you see the fucking title of the podcast, literally Singapore is snobbish. Right? Tommy Koh says confronting society's flaws is needed for a social compact. Yeah, okay, that's the title. But then, like, even in the description, there was no hint that there are a lot of upside, and then, like what you say, the article is just Singapore snobbish. I was surprised by the podcast because I expected it to be a lot more of Tommy Koh shitting on Singapore,
Yeah,
but he talked about a lot of stuff, and I mean, he has been vocal for quite a while, because on Reddit, some people are saying, of course, now he privileged. He get all these advantages in life, then now he shit on the system that made him successful. No, since I think even 2011, he was quite public when commenting on a minister's, one minister who said something about their daughter-in-law potentially marrying someone from a minority race, and he said, oh, you're crazy or something.
Yeah.
So he has been quite vocal. So at the end of the day, the podcast, I mean, I thought it was interesting. Like, I did come away from it thinking like, nowadays when I see articles, even today, there were a few articles saying, oh, the younger workforce, or like the workforce in general, if they cannot work at least 2 days from home, they will not take the job.
Yeah.
Part of me, I won't deny it. I'm like, hey, fuck lah, just do. If you have all these demands, how you kind of need to, those kind of blanket demands a bit. I don't think it's the best way to go lah. And then you see things about can't work that hard. Part of me always feels like, hey, no. But I think part of me is also realizing that if we do want Singapore society to evolve, inequality to reduce, emphasis on purely material success to reduce, it does have to start somewhere. And if it's the younger generation that is thinking about this shit when applying for jobs, maybe that's moving in the right direction. So when I heard the younger rep, Laura, say that, for when her peers are looking for jobs, it is not just about the pay, it is about the values of the company, it is about this. Then I'm like, oh, I guess that's a good step in the right direction.
It's pushing a mindset shift in the older generation, like yourself, myself, right?
Yeah,
in terms
exactly.
of understanding what people value, and maybe even teaching us a lesson or two about what to value as well. Because the truth is, as a young parent, or the stuff that we used to think would get you a bulletproof rice bowl, to get through life and all that, like a college degree and all these things, right? It's not the same for them anymore. It's not going to be the same 20 years later when everybody has a degree, and so you kind of need to be able to adapt to this new shifting social norms lah. And if we are entrenched in our there's only everyone's just a snowflake and they're complaining and the strawberries or that, then we are the ones that are not evolving with the times or so lah.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of these mindsets are based on stuff that you kind of anchor on when you're younger. I mean, even for me, like right now, we have chosen this alternative path, and it's been a roller coaster, and I mean, I love what we do and all, but I won't deny that when things are not going well, sometimes when I see the people around me, I'm like, oh shit, why am that? But then I have to bring myself back. I'm like, then what is success lah? There's all these different definitions, and a lot of it is traced back to when I was fucking younger in school and all the shit lah. So if that sort of stuff is being shaped now as they're entering the workforce, it does feel like, okay, then at least something is changing lah. Because otherwise, we have heard this stuff about Singapore, we need to embrace the all aspects of society, everyone on every rung. We can talk all the fuck we want, and I think there's only so much that the government can do in terms of enforcing appreciation for every rung of society. just seeing that, okay, in some way people's behavior is also changing. You're like, okay, then at least something is changing. There's hope.
Yeah. So, but do you generally agree with his statement? Singapore is Singaporeans or Singapore is snobbish?
If I had to say yes or no, I would say just on the statement, I would say I'm leaning towards no. Because okay, if it's just on that statement, because definitely got snobs, definitely got hierarchy. But there's also so many parts of Singapore that I think are not like that. Unfortunately, the snobs and people at the top of the hierarchy kind of influence a lot of things.
Yeah.
But for you?
I mean, it's a very blanket statement, but I would also say that we are also products of the system, in a way. I think I've talked to the cows already, have taken the MRT and gone home already, about the alignment of incentives all the way at the very top, right? The way a minister's salary is structured to, be pegged to the richest people, the richest highest earners of society, versus like pegging it to some other KPI or some other metric. That I think that at the very top, it trickles down to what people value, what people see as important in their lives and in society. So, it's I think even Tommy Koh himself was saying that he doesn't know the answer to whether this can change. He's optimistic because he hears people like the other two guests of what they think and what they talk about, and they are the next generation, right? So he's optimistic, but as it stands right now, as a product of the system, the very successful system that has brought us this far and all that, maybe we've not managed the downsides of the system enough, the cons of the system, and that's what we're seeing now, where there is I think the pandemic really exacerbated and made us realize, hey, a lot of the essential workers that were, I'm not talking about artists, right? But the essential workers who were really frontliners and taking care of everyone, and the cleanliness of your estate, the cleanliness of your food courts and all these things, they're severely underappreciated, underpaid. Even teachers, right? Recently there's a pay rise for teachers announced.
Yeah, correct.
I think the shocking thing is that it was like the review for the pay used to be only every 5 to 10 years,
Fuck.
And you think about it, like the rate of inflation since 2015, the last time the teachers' pay was adjusted, 2015 to now, then we're finally seeing a jump. And then imagine everything that's happened in between, pandemic and homeschooling and everything. And not homeschooling. I mean, have those basically kids being at home and attending the
lessons. Is this homeschooling? Yeah, what the fuck is
homeschooling? Not homeschooling. What am I saying?
Home lessons, remote lessons.
Remote learning.
No, it's not remote learning. It's something else. There's the word home in it.
Home-based schooling. Home-based learning. Home-based learning. HBL, yes. Home-based learning. HBL. Homeschool, home-based learning that the teachers had to adapt to in the past 2 years. Yeah,
correct.
So imagine how much the teachers had to adapt in the past, 5 to 7 years, and then there's only one exercise every 5 to 10 years to raise their pay. And it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Even there was an article on Bloomberg that was kind of referred to something that Lawrence Wong said about hinting that there might be more taxes for the rich in future. So, it's one of those things that, okay, there have been a lot of research to show that, okay, inequality does decrease when the taxes are a little more aligned. Of course, there's still many uncertainties, but feels like, okay, things are slowly changing. But the funny thing was on the podcast, I think when Stephen Chia asked, okay, so how long before Singapore reaches a good place? There was silence, no? There was silence for 2 seconds.
I couldn't tell because I was listening at double speed, so maybe the silence didn't last as long.
Oh yeah, I was listening at double speed as well, and it was long enough for me to notice.
4 seconds.
Maybe it was quite a while.
You listen in real time, it really
Yeah, that's why I can hear the tumbleweed. Because even Stephen Chia said, the silence, or he made some reference to it. But that was when Tommy Koh was saying, he is still very optimistic because he's not sure how long, but he's optimistic. And are you optimistic or not, Terence?
You kind of have to be, right? You have to be. If not, what's the point?
Don't give that kind of truism answer. Fuck, that's the truism, no. Of course, it's always good to be optimistic.
You just have to be lah. I mean, if not, what
Parents,
are you fighting for?
unshackle what you think you need to say. Yeah. What is your true what is your true sentiment? Are you optimistic or not?
Unshackled. It has to be. Yeah.
You have to be.
I mean, okay, maybe because I have because I have a kid. So there needs to. I mean, if not, then what you bring up your kids for? You kind of got to help them try and find their way and hope that they also, with their generation of kids who are probably all just tumbling around the playgroup right now and all that, that they will be able to figure a way out of this lah. This being the situation that we're in now, where we realize not everything's perfect, and how do we fix it lah?
So that means, are you saying you're not optimistic, but you have to be optimistic? Because if someone were to ask me, do I sleep early? I'm like, yeah, I have to sleep early. But do I sleep early? No, I don't. I know I should sleep early, but I don't sleep early. So you're optimistic or no?
I'm optimistic, yeah.
Okay lah. See, simple. No need to give me all backstory of like why you feel you have to be optimistic or.
I don't know, but I give you the context of I'm generally quite I would say I always quite careful and see the downside of things. But I mean, because the timeline of the life that I'm looking forward to has extended a little bit because I have my kids, and I'm trying to imagine what life will be like for them when they're my age and everything. So I think a bit I try to look a bit more into the future and see, okay, how things going to be for them lah. And I do feel some optimism that that things can change from what it currently is. It's not terrible now, right? Obviously. So I think there's one thing very important to remember, that we're not in a terrible position, but how do we make it better lah? How about you?
True. No, I would say I'm optimistic lah. I'm optimistic. There's still
really.
Yeah. You don't think so? Why are you so surprised?
Depends on which day of the week I bump into you also lah.
Or whether I just had an argument with my fiance or something.
All that kind of thing. Or you went to there's some planning fuck up for your wedding coming up. Then wow, the world sucks.
Oh, so you think I'm more pessimistic than optimistic?
No, I think but you and I, we've talked about this before, where even if you are more optimistic, it's you have a higher dynamic range of
I'm more volatile. Correct. I'm more volatile.
It goes from we're gonna do this, and the next day everything sucks. There's nothing so far.
Yeah, that is true.
Whereas for me, it's more of a constant. Then I'm a bit more like a big fat ship that needs a lot more to be pushed in the direction, right? Yeah. Whereas yours,
especially when it comes to new apps.
You're on a kayak lah. You're on a kayak, so you travel fast, but you capsize a lot also lah. Capsize, then come up. Capsize, come up. Right? That's how I would say it.
I would say capsize a lot, but also like nimble.
But you come back up lah. Nimble, come back up. But capsize a lot lah. Then always have, then the ship have to throw a float. Then you come up. Then very fast again. That kind of thing. That's the analogy I gave her.
Yeah, but I think now you have to throw less floats because my fiance is also beside me, so she also throws a lot of floats. She throws a lot of floats, like a lot of flares.
Don't worry, just say what you want to say, unshackled. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah.
No, but I am optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Okay,
I'm optimistic.
And why are you optimistic? Because of the next generation or what?
No, I think because over the past 10 years, just being in Singapore, in our field and all that, feels like, okay lah, sometimes things shift to extremes, like when it comes to, I don't know, like care and concern for the underprivileged or disenfranchised or freedom of expression and all. But I think generally the conversations happening now, the sentiments being shared by even our peers as they also go into positions of like, okay, influence and all, feels like, okay lah, that it could still go very wrong, but there is a lot of potential to just get better lah and have better outcomes lah. So yeah, I'm optimistic lah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, videos of Lawrence Wong like playing guitar or riding motorcycle or that makes me feel like,
what the fuck?
Okay, next Prime Minister rides motorbikes and plays, and he plays pretty good guitar lah, better than average, I would say.
In future NDP, he'll be part of the performance.
Yeah.
Right? He'll be part of he'll come instead of that big merce that does the PM come in a transport? No, that's just the president lah, right?
No, I think just the president. Yeah.
Just PM the president
goes to see. But I think my thing was just that, maybe even he is demonstrating that going forward, you can't just be that, single-minded focus on work and nothing else, on earning money and GDP and nothing else also lah. There's a bit more, I mean, and you see there, right there, an example, there's a bit more appreciation of the arts, a bit more appreciation of different kinds of lifestyles and everything lah, right?
Correct.
So it's not a small thing when you see the future PM doing all these things. I think that's important.
Yeah, like next time your child want to say, hey, I want to learn guitar. Then you say no. Then you're like, hey, but PM also play guitar. And what are you going to say? What are you going to say, Terrence?
Or motorbike. PM also ride motorbike.
PM
Why?
also
I want
ride
my
motorbike.
motorbike license cannot. They say, it's dangerous, you think
Oh, PM can what? PM can what? Then good luck to all parents, man.
Yeah. So that's the Singapore that Tommy Koh sees. But I mean, we say we're very optimistic about the next generation, but maybe the next story might make you a little bit less optimistic. Yeah. What is this
It
story
is
here?
the recent backlash and reaction from a prominent influencer in Singapore who goes by the name of Naomi Neo. I mean, she's pretty big. She has a few million in the TikTok followers, and she posts quite a bit about her family, her 4-year-old son. But recently, she also jumped onto this trend on TikTok where parents would kind of like turn on the face cam of their camera, put their phone down with their kid there, like in a room, and then turn on this ghost filter, which makes a ghost kind of appear in the background with some very sinister voice. And the parents will run out of the room and lock the child in the room, and they record how the child reacts.
Yeah.
So I had seen it on TikTok every once in a while, and I was all like, what? Why? But okay.
It's over 23 million views.
And that's just Naomi's video lah. Because it is a trend on TikTok. So I don't know how many fucking hundreds of millions of views have already been chalked up. So I saw it before, but then when news broke that Naomi Neo did it, that her video got 23 million views. And there was a lot of people who gave their feedback. And then she and her husband posted a reaction video a couple of days ago, basically saying that, okay, I think everyone has their own ideas of parenting and how each child learns is different. I would never do anything to deliberately hurt my own child. And then it shows videos of the child laughing at the ghosting, saying want to do again, and saying that, it's fake, it's not real. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But why?
I mean,
yeah.
I'm a parent, so obviously my views are going to be very boring. I'm actually more interested to hear what your views are as a, just a
consumer of content.
Consumer content, and then what did you think of this when you first saw it?
But first of all, why did you want to talk about this?
I mean, it's there are a lot of different views about it. There are people who are also defending her. Don't forget.
They're
saying that why is everyone making such a big fuss? It's just a prank, and if the kid after that seems okay with it already, why are people getting offended on his behalf? You're not the parent. Let the parents do the parenting, right?
Yeah, but I think my reaction also going to be the very boring, conventional one. Because I think it's damn stupid.
And why?
Fucking stupid. Because, I mean, I still have very vivid memories of things that I experienced when I was young. I think before the age of 5 or 6, because I wasn't schooling, that I remember to this day. And most of the time, it is not something that I remember very super fondly or anything. So if this kid is 4 years old, you do this, sure, he might be happy after that. But the whole thing about why minors are considered minors when it comes to offenses and laws is because there is this understanding that, they're still
brains
growing.
are not developed.
Yeah, their brains are literally not biologically developed. So if you're saying that your son who's 4 years old is laughing in the video and saying, he can tell fake from real as a justification why, the prank is harmless, then I'm like, what? I mean, I'm not a parent. I don't know how I will be as a parent, but it fucking blows my mind. And it blows my mind that so many other parents also on TikTok did this. I don't understand. So that's my I think it's a boring answer because
your uncle answer.
My uncle answer lah. But
I have the exact same thoughts about it. But actually, I thought an interesting angle that we can bring to the table that very few other people can bring is the idea of a prank, right? Why is it when we were doing pranks on the streets, as Ministry of Funny on YouTube, and that's what made us also, quite popular on social media and all that, right? We could have always done these scary ghost pranks where we jump out at people from the middle of the night and all that, right? Because those were quite popular back then.
Yeah, those
Zombie
were
prank,
fucking popular. Big spider
ghost
prank.
big spider prank, spider dog prank. Why did we avoid doing those?
Yeah, it is something that we talked about a lot. Like basically the principle or our belief was that, okay, if you want to do a prank video, it shouldn't be at the expense of someone else, almost without their consent lah.
But it always will be at the expense of someone else. I mean, the consent, even you get it, also it comes after.
Yeah, correct. It comes after
event, right?
I think. So do you remember how we articulated it? Because for us, when we discussed it was very clear. Okay, we are not going to do this kind of shit lah.
I think the one big thing for us was that the prank shouldn't deliberately be going out to try and traumatize someone, like, right? As it evoke feelings of like extreme fear or that they're gonna die or something like that, right? So a lot of our pranks were more about sort of subtly influencing their perception of things, like, right? For example, having a painted human body blend into a wall, then slowly getting people to not who haven't seen it to suddenly realize that there's something going on in the back, right? And their reactions can be quite extremely shocking on that, but it's never to the point where we are deliberately trying to make it scare them and then like make them like jump out of their pants, right? And sometimes the reactions, because of that, the reactions are more muted as well, and we would accept that as part of it's just part of the game, that if we don't want to do that kind of extreme scare prank, the reactions we get also might not always be crazy, but that's the thing, we're not trying, we don't want to bring people to a point where they are fearful for their lives or what. And the extreme fear that you see in her son's face as he backs away from the phone and tries to open the door is, I don't know, man, as a parent, I'm just like, wow, that is heartbreaking to watch, and aren't you setting yourself up for sleepless nights when your kid can't sleep alone in his bed because he sees the image in his mind and all that, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's not even taking into account that here is this kid who has 23 million people watching him get scared, that is going to be on the internet forever. Yeah, it just feels like, wait, what? How does this fucking make sense? Like, and I guess I was surprised by their reaction also, because just posting the video of their kid laughing, I mean, I probably laughed at some dumbass shit, and if somebody punched me in the face or slapped me when I was 4, and then like the next day they give me a sweet, I also will laugh, right? I also will be okay. And she's actually played other pranks on her kids, on that same kid before. There was one time when she pretended to be invisible. One time when she pretended to not show up at school to pick him up, and he's just crying, and it just feels like, whoa. How does that make sense?
Yeah, then there has been a precedent, right, before. I think not in Singapore, but in the US, where there were just some families that were, just doing pranks on YouTube on within the family on their kids and all that, to a certain point where literally people were reporting them to like the Child Protective Services and all that and they actually had to, I think they got Child Protective Services stepped in and then took the kids out of their custody So all I'm just saying is that there is a line somewhere where people say that, hey, this is, whether or not you're the parent, what you're doing to the child may be too much, and of course you never want to separate a parent from a child or and forcefully and all that, but if the parent is just relentless and unrelenting in milking the child's reactions for money, right? Or for views or whatever that whatever is important to them, then it's, if someone has to step in and do something, I can't say that that's the worst outcome, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think another thing also that for us when we were filming pranks is that we never approach anyone who look like they could be below 18 lah. Because and that's below 18. So this one, when it comes to your 4-year-old child, yeah, granted, it's your child. But I don't know, man. And the fact that she's a content creator by profession, it's not just someone random. It just feels like, walao, like I don't know, man. And the people defending her also. I mean, because I'm sure you also have a lot of people kind of making comments about your parenting style.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. So, I think there's no right answer to parenting, right?
Yeah. I don't know whether it was you or someone else told me the analogy if they take with their kid is like an iPhone. At some point, you're going to drop it. I'm not saying you drop your kid and all that, but I'm just saying that you have your, like that there's no way to really control everything in your child's life. So maybe what Naomi Neo is thinking is that at some point he's going to be exposed to ghost shit. Why not expose him now and let him know that it's not real? Can that not be a very big approach? Because I have some friends who swear in front of their kids, because they're like, it's better they hear it from me first than opposed to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, all I have to say is that is like the point you said earlier. Like biologically, their brains are not they are developing very fast, but they're not anywhere near developed. Your brain only really gets fully developed closer to your 20s, maybe your mid-20s, So the way you process emotions, the way you process stuff that have traumatic things happen in your childhood, it can stay with you for a very long time. And if you go on Reddit and you see some of the responses, people are literally talking about stories of how they were pranked or they were left alone, locked in a room when they were kids. And that has followed them into their adulthood where they can't go to a toilet at night alone. They have to wake up their husband or wife to accompany them to the toilet at night. And various things like that, not being able to sleep with the lights off and things like that. So, I mean, my only advice, I don't want you don't want to tell a parent how to parent, but the only advice is don't downplay the longer term effects it might have on your child. And maybe
man.
It might be worth just re-examining maybe this is your lot in life. You have to create content as a family vlogger and everything. This is your lot. This is your career. Fine. But don't do it at the expense of someone else's development.
Maybe for 18 years time, like the kid will be, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that video, it changed my life forever. Then we can listen to this podcast again, just like how we listened to the podcast 2 years ago where I was a bit more flippant about COVID.
Yeah,
be like,
chills down your spine.
Yeah, chills down our spine, man.
No, I mean, it's I think like as content creators, whenever we talk about involving our own personal family and all that in our content, we have to be very careful, right?
Yeah,
I think there's various reasons for that, but you just need to be doubly careful and concerned. So Naomi, we're not saying you're wrong or anything like that, but we're just saying do think twice when it's about your child and everything right?
Maybe she said, "Hey, Terrence, I'm giving my child the experience of a Lamborghini. You go or not, Terrence? Huh?
That's why That's why Child Protective Services needs to step in.
Yeah, that's why
he got no Lamborghini.
How can any parent not give the experience of a Lamborghini to their child? Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I think we spoke about that on the when the woke salaryman was on a podcast as well. We talked about that. Like, what kind of experiences you give your child will be very instructive to how they grow up as well, right? If they just get used to like flying private jets and all that, then one day when they take business class, it's gonna be like the whole world will come crashing down.
Correct.
So you just gotta be very cognizant that how you parent will have long-term effects on them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Wow.
Cool.
So you're still optimistic about?
I'm still optimistic.
About the future.
I'm still optimistic, man.
Yeah.
Still optimistic. But man.
Speaking of optimism, let's talk about our one Shiok comment.
Yes, our one Shiok comment for the week. So
mine is a post by Honey Conflicts. Telling us that they spent a very awesome Friday night at Rishi Rujrani's Live and Exposed show. And they literally put a photo of of Rishi on stage at the show, saying that it was because of our podcast with Rishi. That's why he or she was motivated to purchase tickets to watch the show. And they really enjoyed it. They got a photo of Rishi and they told him that it was because they heard him on our podcast.
Oh,
so,
they told him. They told him.
Yeah. So I'm like, we're going to chase down Rishi for the commission, for the 15% commission.
Oh yeah, that's true. When you message Rishi, all he said was like, "Thanks, bros. Thanks, bros."
Yeah.
We can send him our invoice after that.
Yeah. But the other thing that this Honey Conflicts also says, thanks to Terence, I am now unemployed. After working in high finance under huge pressure, long hours, and major anxiety for the past few years, I have decided to take a leap of faith and work on things that actually make me happier. Blessed to have a supportive partner and an amazing Yalla Butt podcast to tune into, which keeps me going. So shout out to Honey Conflicts. Whatever journey it is you've chosen to go on, I feel glad and also a sense of like, wow, this is almost like a kind of like heavy responsibility that Harish and I share in terms of like trying to encourage people to follow their passions, chase their dreams, and live life to their fullest lah.
Wow, but Lawrence Wong will be pissed off at you, Terence, for encouraging someone to become it brings down the numbers of employment, the workforce, Terence.
But he says work on things that actually make me happier. So it sounds like Honey Conflicts is still going to be working just on something that makes them happier lah. I mean, it could still be going to another job. It's just not one that is high finance lah.
So that means the happiness index for Singapore will go up slightly lah.
Slightly, yeah. Firstly, because they attended Rishi's show, and secondly, because they made the jump lah. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. My one Shiok comment is just a shout out to long-time commenter Jungle Jimbo 88, who we've already given shout outs to in the past, but it never fails to amaze me the depth to which he kind of timestamps content that we might appear in and all. So recently, someone, the small boyo, kind of shared CNA Singlish documentary that I feature in a little bit. I hope it turned out well. I haven't watched it yet, but Jungle Jimbo timestamp all the moments that I appeared. Holy shit! I think yesterday I found myself skimming through like, hey, where am I? Fuck, where am I? But Jungle Jimbo just made life easier for me and hopefully other people as well.
He's giving the literal timestamp.
Yeah, the timestamp and what I said. Like, yo, man, the commitment is real, and I really appreciate it.
The video on TikTok.
Fuck you lah! It's on YouTube lah. It's a full documentary lah, dude.
Oh, the full documentary. Got it.
Just one statement. You're like, oh, you did a TikTok documentary. Well done, Harish.
No. There's a
documentary.
There's another post where someone took a screenshot of you in a TikTok.
Oh, there was another. Just so happened that I was in two Singlish productions about Singlish.
What's you and Singlish? Your obsession.
Dude, I tell you, it's the fucking omelette. They heard the omelette. They heard the omelette, and they're like, okay, this guy pronounces words in a weird way, just like Singlish does to English words. We need to have it. Yeah, I think the omelette.
The omelette is like it's just that one's just for attention lah.
No, it's
whereas
the
people
best.
speak English. We speak English because that's where we grew up and live lah. Yours is just for attention lah.
It's the best audition piece ever. It's all strategy, my friend. It's all strategy.
You walk in the room and the first thing you talk about, hey, what do you have for brunch? I had omelette. Excuse me? Omelette. Oh, he's so interesting.
Yeah, man. If I had a documentary about language, I would definitely get this man. Yeah.
But that's literally what happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was my one Shiok comment. What about the one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing is a new, not new, it's been around for a bit. Podcast called Land of the Giants. Not sure if you heard about it, but basically it's I think it's reporters from the Verge, not the Verge, sorry, Recode and Vox. They basically have been reporting on all these tech giants for the last number of years, and they've actually they're doing these deep dives into each of these tech giants. And if you go back to season 1, it's actually from 2019 and they did a study on Amazon lah. So they just really go into the origins of Amazon, how Amazon grew big, what kind of effects Amazon has on the communities that it touches, and what's the future for Amazon lah. So it's really interesting to delve into the histories of these companies and how Wall Street reacted to them, and how they're affecting people on the ground who work in their warehouses and all that. And also how they are going to be in the future lah. So season 1 was Amazon. Even though it's already 2 years old, it's still very a lot of the stuff that they cover is very relevant. It's very interesting. The subsequent seasons about Netflix, Google, Facebook, all the tech giants. So I mean, I'm just starting on season 2 already, and I really strongly recommend everyone to just even check out season 1 and the crazy stories about Amazon.
I see. And what's it called again?
Land of the Giants.
Land of the Giants. Wow.
It's by Vox and Recode. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
So there's actually there's 6 seasons already. It's Amazon, Netflix, Google, delivery companies, I think, and then Apple, and now is the latest seasons on Facebook/Meta. Yeah.
Wait, so Land of the Giants, is it?
Land of the Giants. Yeah, that's right.
Because Land of the Giants is also an hour-long American science fiction television program that aired in 1968.
Yeah. So
that really is about a land
real giants.
giants.
No, so maybe like maybe for all you know, the tech companies don't like this series lah. So they're pushing up a show from the 60s on the search, the SEO for that show rather than this podcast lah.
I was reading
you never know, man. You never
the
know.
Wikipedia thing. I was like, okay, very little is known about the home planet of the giants. I'm like, where the fuck is the stuff about Amazon and Google?
Exactly.
Oh, so it's two different things.
Yeah, different. Yep.
I see. Land of the Giants. I see. That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. Okay, so my one Shiok thing is just the news that I think last week the trailer for Rick and Morty season 6 dropped. The trailer is out. If you guys aren't familiar with Rick and Morty, it is a animated comedies, adult themed comedy series. There's just zany as fuck. And it just follows like this one crazy scientist and his grandson as they go into different dimensions and parallel universes, and they're always trying to save the world that they inevitably put in danger. And it's fucking great. It's so eccentric. I love it. 5 seasons down. Now the 6th season is coming soon.
You've watched all 5 seasons?
Yeah, watch all 5.
Oh, okay.
All 5. I mean, some were better than others, but it was really good. I got moments of like just hilarity, moments of like of tears. So it's great. It's fucking great.
Is this the final season already or something?
I don't know, man. I don't know whether it's going to be final or not.
Okay.
But
because I think I got to season 3, and then after that I kind of like
weaned yourself off.
I haven't felt the urge to get back into it yet. But if it's the final season, I might. Yeah.
Don't know whether it's the final season.
Okay. But it's a cool watch anyway.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Oh no, I don't think it's the final. It's there was a long-term deal secured in May 2018 that ordered 70 new episodes over an unspecified number of seasons.
Wow.
So it's not going to be the last.
Okay, it'll be a while.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to y'all soon.